the Cornfield Queen. Dorothy Jenkins had always said the corn told you everything you needed to know. If it grew straight and tall, the year would be kind. If it bent and whispered in the wind, trouble was coming. On the morning her twin sons called from Las Vegas, the corn was bent so low it kissed the earth. "Mom, we're selling the farm." Mike's voice crackled through the old landline in the kitchen. "Rick and I got an opportunity, a casino investment. We need the cash fast. Already listed the house, the tractor, the land. You'll get your cut, enough for a nice trailer in town. Love you, bye." Click. Dorothy stood in her faded floral housecoat, coffee cooling in her hand. 48 years she'd poured into this Iowa soil. 48 harvests. 48 Christmases with tinsel on the barn rafters. Her husband Earl had died in the North Field 3 springs ago. Heart attack while fixing the comm. She'd buried him under the cottonwood by the creek, same spot his father rested. Now her boys, 45, slick-haired, city-shoed, were selling it all for slot machines and showgirls. She didn't cry. She listened to the corn. It whispered, "Wait." 3 days later, a yellow moving truck rumbled up the gravel drive. Rick hopped out in a shiny blazer, clipboard in hand. "Mom, you gotta be out by Friday. Buyers want to close Monday. They're putting in a subdivision." Cornfield Estates. Cute, right? Dorothy folded her arms. "Where am I supposed to go?" "There's a senior park in Cedar Rapids. 1 bed, 1 bath. We paid the deposit." Mike appeared behind his brother, sunglasses reflecting her stunned face. "You'll love it. No stairs. Bingo on Tuesdays." They didn't hug her. They didn't look back. That night, she sat at the kitchen table Earl had built from barnwood. The house smelled of lemon polish and decades of fried chicken. She opened the junk drawer. Rubber bands, recipes, a rusted key on a red ribbon. Earl's voice in her memory. "Dot, if anything happens to me, check the root cellar, behind the pickle shelf. Only when you're ready." She hadn't been ready. Until now. The root cellar smelled of earth and dill. Behind the dusty jars of bread and butter pickles sat a metal lockbox. The key slid in smooth as butter. Inside, a manila envelope labeled "Dorothy, Eyes Only," signed in Earl's blocky handwriting. A lottery ticket stub dated 2017. A bank book from First National of Des Moines. A single post-it. "Tell the boys when they learn what dirt's worth." Dorothy's hands shook as she opened the envelope. The lottery ticket? A $28 million Powerball winner. Earl had bought it on a whim in Omaha. Never told a soul. He'd invested every penny into corn futures, ethanol plants, and 1,200 acres across 3 counties, including the 400-acre McMansion farm the boys had just moved into outside Ankeny. The bank book showed $14.3 million in liquid assets. The deed showed Dorothy M. Jenkins as sole owner of Jenkins Agri Holdings, LLC. The boys' new farmhouse, rented to them at $1 a year. Her house. Dorothy closed the box. The corn outside straightened in the wind. She let them sell the home place. Let the moving truck haul her rocking chair, her wedding quilt, her cast iron skillet. Let the realtor plant a sold sign in the front yard. She moved into the Cedar Rapids trailer. Number 47, Shady Pines Senior Village. Neighbors pitied her. "Those city boys done you wrong, Dorothy. Shame, losing the family farm." She smiled, baked zucchini bread, and played bingo. Every Tuesday, she won the coverall. Every Friday, she mailed anonymous postcards to Mike and Rick in Vegas. "Corn's looking good this year." 6 months later, the text started. "Mike, Mom, casino deal went south. Need a loan. 50K? Rick, investors pulled out. We're upside down. Can you sell the tractor?" Dorothy replied, "Tractor's gone, boys. So's the farm. Love, Mom." They didn't call again. 9 months in, a knock rattled her trailer door. Mike and Rick stood on the AstroTurf stoop, sunburned, suits rumpled, eyes bloodshot. "Mom," Mike croaked. "We're broke. Lost everything. The farmhouse foreclosure notice came. Can we crash here?" Dorothy stepped aside. Couch pulls out. "One rule. You work." They nodded like chastised schoolboys. She put them to work in the community garden, hoeing, weeding, hauling mulch. Mike complained his back hurt. Rick whined about blisters. Every evening, she cooked. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes, green beans from the garden. After dishes, she'd say, "Tell me about Vegas." They spilled. Private poker tables, bottle service, a redhead named Tiffany who took Rick's Rolex, a sure-thing roulette system that bled them dry. Dorothy listened, said nothing. One October morning. The corn was gold and heavy. Dorothy drove the boys, now in flannel and work boots, back to the home place. The sold sign was gone. A new one stood in its place. Jenkins Agri Holdings, no trespassing. Mike frowned. "Who bought it?" Dorothy handed them shovels. "You did. Start digging." They dug fence posts while she watched from the porch swing. Sweat soaked their shirts. Dirt caked their city hands. At noon, she brought lemonade and sandwiches, sat between them on the steps. "Boys," she said, "your daddy won the lottery in 2017, invested every dime. This land, the tractor, the Ankeny farmhouse, it's all mine. Always was." Rick dropped his sandwich. "You're rich?" "Richer than you ever dreamed, but money don't grow corn. Hands do." Mike's face crumpled. "We sold your home, left you in a trailer. Why didn't you tell us?" "Because you needed to learn what dirt's worth, and you're just starting." She gave them jobs. Mike managed the ethanol plant in Ames. 6 a.m. shifts, coveralls, no excuses. Rick ran the farmer's market stand, up at 4, selling sweet corn and zucchini bread. They lived in the bunkhouse behind the barn. No AC, one bathroom. Every Sunday, Dorothy cooked fried chicken in the big house. They ate at Earl's table, told stories, laughed till their sides hurt. Thanksgiving came. The table groaned. Turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce from the bog out back. Dorothy raised her glass. To Earl, and to second chances. Mike cleared his throat. "Mom, we're sorry. For Vegas, for the farm, for everything." Rick nodded. "We thought money was freedom. Turns out it's just noise." Dorothy smiled. Freedom's in the rows, straight ones. Spring planting. The boys were up before dawn. Mike drove the new John Deere, paid cash. Rick walked the fields, checking soil samples. Dorothy watched from the porch, coffee in hand. The corn grew straight and tall. One July evening, a van pulled up. A social worker stepped out with 3 kids, siblings, fresh from a bad foster placement. "Ms. Jenkins, you said you had room." Dorothy had turned the bunkhouse into Cornfield Kids Camp, a summer program for at-risk youth. Mike taught tractor safety. Rick ran fishing derbies at the creek. The oldest boy, Jamal, stared at the endless green. "This all yours?" Dorothy ruffled his hair. "Ours now." Years later, the Des Moines Register ran a feature, From Powerball to Power of Community, the Jenkins Legacy. Photo, Dorothy, 78 in overalls, flanked by Mike and Rick, tanned, strong, proud. Behind them, kids laughed in the corn maze. Caption, "We thought we lost the farm. Turns out, we found our roots." Brahme, Dorothy still plays bingo every Tuesday, still wins the coverall. But now, when the corn whispers, it says, family, forgiveness, future, and the rows grow straighter than ever.